What up, Fight fam? My name is Marco Rubio from the Fightcast. This is the 10-minute breakdown. Before we get started, I just want to extend my condolences out to everyone affected by the Manchester bombings yesterday at that Ariana Grande concert. Usually I try to stray away from these things, keep the channel light, but given the fact that this fight is taking place in the UK, I wanted to send out my thoughts and my prayers to everyone affected by him. We live in the greatest time to be alive, but unfortunately it is plagued by certain extremist individuals that try to take our livelihood away from us. And but we will stand strong like we always do. So shout out to all my UK people. Please stay safe out there, and know that you guys are in my prayers. This is a 10-minute breakdown. Hope everyone having a great week. We have an absolute banger for you guys this weekend. We have Errol Spence Jr. versus Kell Brook fighting down the UK for the IBF Welterweight Championship of the World. Live on Showtime, so make sure to check that out this weekend. We're going to start off with Errol Spence, aka EJ as we like to call him. Yes, he is a native of Texas, out of DeSoto, Texas. Great amateur background. I ran into him once in the amateurs. That was not a good time for me. But other than that, he's a very humble guy, very nice guy, very easy to talk to. Considering his amateur background, he was a national champ, multiple amateur national champion. Pretty much ran Texas at the 152 division. Great power, great speed, great body work. I seen him lay out a couple dudes at the national power, and it was nasty. All around pretty good, really good guy. Again, out of Texas, very strong, great fighter, okay defense. While I say okay, doesn't mean it's not good. It's just I would think, and if anything of his arsenal, it would be his defense that is lacking. He does get hit a lot sometimes, but even when he gets hit, you really don't see it much affecting him that much. I saw him get rocked once in the amateurs and then once in the professional. That was early in his career when he fought an actual step up in competition. Other than that, he has a great offense, and that does make up for his lack of defense. Again, just the his defense ain't up to par when it comes to compared to his offense. Very strong boxer puncher, so he's aggressive, very entertaining style fighter. You hardly ever see EJ not go for the kill. You saw that in the fight when he stepped up against Chris Algieri, who I thought would be a more competitive fight, but I was completely wrong. EJ just scraped right through him. It made it look easy. What's his name? Chris Algieri had really nothing for him. Didn't respect his power and kind of just came through and able to knock him out in the fourth round. Very impressive win for Errol Spence again. Chris Algieri had just came off of a loss to Pacquiao, so now we're crossing in the realms of former opponents. Now Chris Algieri was a big name, had just fought Pacquiao. And his next opponent was Leonard Bundu, who went all 12 rounds with the current unified champion Keith Thurman, and Errol Spence was able to get him out there in 6. While it wasn't I don't say it was a competitive fight. EJ was winning every round, but you did see a little frustration out of Errol Spence. He wasn't able to land easy shots on Bundu, because Bundu is a very crafty, experienced fighter, and of course Olympian out of Italy. So he was stepping in competition, but eventually was able to break him down, work the body, and get a right hook and knock him out dead in the 6th round. It was a crazy knockout and a big fight for EJ. It was right after the Olympic round of the men's Olympic basketball team tournament, whatever it is, and it cut right off and went straight to the Leonard Bundu versus Errol Spence fight, and it got over 8 million views. So shout out to Al Heyman and the PBC for really putting out a great performance and getting a great spotlight for Errol Spence, who is now of course fighting Kell Brook for the title. Again, I would say his only lack is his defense, and he's also a southpaw, so that puts him right in line for Kell Brook's injured right eye, which we'll get into more here in the keys of victory. His keys to victory right now is to avoid Kell Brook's jab. Both of them are great boxers, but I will pick, if I had to choose between the two, I would say Kell Brook is a little better. Is a little better boxer. Than Errol Spence. He uses his jab more effectively, and what I mean by that is EJ uses his jab just to get inside. Of course, he's an inside fighter. He's nasty with the hooks, nasty with the body, going up from the head to the body, really working pretty much all types of all varieties of combinations. So he really just uses his jab to get on the inside, while Kell Brook uses it to get on the inside, to measure distance, to time, to stop combinations, and that's how you differentiate between the two. So I want to see how Errol Spence reacts to Kell Brook's jab. He's going to be able to avoid it. He's going to be able to counter off of it. Again, it is coming from the left side, so he is a southpaw, so their jab on jab is right close to each other, as opposed to the opposite sides when two orthodox fighters are fighting each other. His next key to victory is to target that right eye. In his last fight for Kell Brook, he was stopped by a bigger man in Triple G. Of course, Kell Brook went up 2 weight divisions and was giving Triple G a great run for his money in the fight, but he eventually got caught with a nasty hook. And you can tell immediately his eye was bothering him. It swelled up, and turns out by the end of the fight, when they stopped it, he had a broken orbital bone. Now, what happens with that broken orbital bone, they put a titanium plate in it, but in the past history of fighters, we've seen it with Margarito, we've seen it with plenty of fighters. Once they get their orbital bone broken, they're really not the same fighter as they were before. Not to saying that this is going to be the determining factor for the fight. I'm just saying that I want to see how he reacts to it. So if EJ is able to target that eye and swell it up, maybe clutter his vision a little bit and set up bigger shots for the knockout, then it could be an advantage for Errol Spence. So he needs to test that eye, especially that he's again lined up directly to throw his power left hand directly towards that eye, or left hook, left uppercut, whatever they may be. Number 3 key to victory is work the body. EJ has to get inside and slow Kell Brook down. And what I mean by slow him down, I don't mean that Kell Brook's a fast moving fighter. He uses the ring effectively. He is a veteran in boxing. He has experience over EJ. Errol Spence, but he's very technical, so he'll get in and out. He'll use a jab. He uses footwork. He won't stay. You saw that in the Kell Brook versus Sean Porter fight. Sean Porter was pressure on Kell Brook, but Kell Brook was able to move, evade, use a jab, use the 1-2, and really stop Sean Porter's relentless pressure. And I want to see how EJ is going to respond to that. He is very, very inexperienced when it comes to title championship fights or going 12 rounds. Again, he's knocking people out. This may not go all 12 rounds. So what EJ needs to do is work the body, slow him down, and eventually break him. Put that pressure that he is known for and take him out of there. I do think he can outbox Kell Brook, especially if he breaks Kell Brook within the first couple of rounds. But if anything, if EJ does win, I think it would be via TKO or knockout. Not that I'm picking him, just saying. I hate when I do this. I ramble and I start giving out little clues. I'm not picking to the end, people. All right, I'm about to come with some heat for Kell Brook. Don't think that I'm being biased just for EJ because we met in the amateurs and I know the guy. We're gonna break this down nice and smooth. Moving on to Special K, Mr. Kell Brook, out of the UK. Kell Brook's a big welterweight, but we're gonna talk about the Triple G fight soon. He's big for his weight class. Reports show that he had a difficult time making 147 this time, obviously because he went up in weight to 160. Then of course taking some time off because of his eye injury, and then finally getting back in the groove of things. So you can definitely understand why he's having a hard time making 147. I think this will probably be his last fight at 147. I think after that he's gonna go back up. He's gonna move up to the super welterweight division, or the 152, the 154 division, with the bigger guys, because he is a bigger welterweight. Even though he's kind of the same size as, like, I think both. Honestly, both of these guys are pretty good size for the welterweight division. Again, great boxer out of the UK, undefeated until he met Triple G. Had a great performance against Sean Porter, where he really outboxed Sean Porter. He was very little was known from Kell Brook back then, and I think he was the one he was picked to lose that fight, but Sean Porter's relentless pressure. But again, we were able to see the beautiful boxing work from Kell Brook. Really disrupted Sean Porter, got him out of his game, was able to jab, uses 1-2s effectively, uses ring. It was still a competitive fight. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't like it was a one-sided fight. Kell Brook was definitely in for a battle when it comes to Sean Porter. Sean Porter puts up a fight with any fighter. But he did have the superior box skills that night, and again, what comes with Kell Brook is his ring experience. He's been in there with the best. He's been there with Sean Porter. He's been there with Triple G. He's defended his title 2 or 3 times already. Injuries have plagued him. I know he was stabbed in his leg in a non-boxing related incident. I don't even know the details about that. That's kind of crazy. So he's been taking some time off. He's been fighting his mandatories, and now Errol Spence is his mandatory for the welterweight division, so he's gonna defend his title against him. And it's gonna be a great fight. A couple things I noticed from Kell Brook off the bat, besides his superior boxing skills, is he has a really good uppercut. We saw him land that uppercut in the Gennady Golovkin fight. We've seen him land it numerous times in other fights that he's been in. He's really sneaky with that right uppercut, really the left and right uppercut, and you don't see that a lot of fighters these days, how they utilize their uppercut as well as it should, because it's a very effective punch. It catches people off guard. It hurts them. It's a direct shot towards the chin, and it's able to set up even bigger shots if that doesn't take them out in the first place. Again, one of the problems I saw is when we fought Triple G, he jumped up 2 weight classes. Very impressive feat. If you want to be great, you have to take great risks. Unfortunately, I think this was a risk that didn't really need to be taken. There was nothing really to prove. A lot of people weren't giving Kell Brook a chance to win, and while I think he'd be great at 160, I just thought that the jump was too quick for him. As in, to really, I mean, again, you're not to really set into in a way, you have to take it little by little. He completely bypassed 154 and went up to 160, and didn't have time to acclimate to that weight, which I think it made a big difference. And of course, you're fighting Gennady Golovkin, who is the boogeyman, who is the power puncher of that weight, who's been at that weight for many years, has acclimated to the weight properly. The results were only going to be at that. But what we did see again is his boxing IQ. He was able to outbox Gennady Golovkin in a couple of rounds. We kind of saw a glimpse of weakness when it came to it. He caught up Gennady Golovkin with a nice uppercut, which I definitely thought it hurt him. He can say whatever he wants, but from looking at his face and his reaction, it definitely caused attention until Gennady Golovkin caught him with the left hook and broke his orbital bone, which eventually ended up being the reason the fight was stopped. But then again, it was a impressive fight for Kell Brook, and he had an impressive fight against Sean Porter as well. But with the eye thing, now he has a broken orbital bone. He has a steel plate in his cheek. In his camp, he's saying that it's not a problem. He's 100% ready to go. Pretty much kind of throwing it out of the water and saying, hey, this is not going to be an excuse of why I lose this fight, which is smart on his part. There shouldn't be any excuse, and really it shouldn't. Unfortunately, I don't think that's the case most of the time. You see, prime example, when Pacquiao fought Margarito back in Texas, back in Dallas Stadium. I was there in that fight. Great fight. Pacquiao broke Margarito's orbital bone, and he looked terrible, swelled up, massive, and that really plagued him for the rest of his career. Really, I think a couple fights after that, he went on to fight Miguel Cotto for the rematch, and while Miguel Cotto was outboxed him beautifully round around. He wasn't really hurting Margarito, but they eventually stopped the fight because of his messed up eye, the same eye that had the steel plate in his cheek. So what I'm trying to say is that this could be a factor for this fight. Not saying that he can't avoid being hit there, but if EJ catches him with that straight left hand, it's not gonna take much to get that eye all swelled up and bother his vision. So that could play a factor in this fight. But we're gonna move on to Kell Brook's keys of victory. Obviously, off the bat, his jab. I think he has the superior jab when it comes to jab for jab with Errol Spence. He knows how to use his distance. He knows how to time it. He knows how to keep him at bay. He knows how to set up the 1-2s and then set up the jab with an uppercut. Again, he has very good uppercuts, and if you catch EJ slipping, he can catch it with a nice right uppercut and hurt Errol Spence. Number 2, he has to be patient. He has to be patient with Errol Spence. I have a feeling that Errol Spence is going to start off really fast, and he needs to stay composed. He needs to stay patient and wait for the shots to open up and not force it, not try to get into a brawl with Errol Spence. Because if they go toe to toe, I think Errol Spence wins that fight 9 times out of 10. And again, set up those shots for the uppercuts. I think the uppercut's going to play a big factor in this fight. Number 3 is use his ring experience. Use his experience. He is a veteran in the sport. He is a veteran in this fight, and it needs to be patient, and it needs not. He doesn't need to believe the hype. He needs to put all those stories of EJ and all these people praising him, saying he's the next big thing. He needs to completely forget about that and just do what he needs to do and not believe the hype. He can't go in there respecting him. He can't go waiting too long. He needs to set up the jab, establish dominance, and win this fight by outboxing him, using his jab, setting up bigger shots, using the ring, and pretty much outboxing him at that point. So here we go. I'm picking my final decision for this fight. For me, it is a 50-50 fight. It can go back and forth. I can see Kell Brook winning very easily by outboxing Errol Spence. I can see Errol Spence stopping him. What I think is going to make the difference, honestly, and I hate that it is, but it is a factor nonetheless, is Kell Brook's left eye, or right eye, I'm sorry. I think it's not going to be the same. I think if once AJ catches it with some strong left hands, strong left hooks, which he's known for starting off very early, he's going to sweat it up and it's going to bother his vision. I think Errol Spence is going to be able to set up big shots and take Kell Brook out of there. So I am picking EJ Errol Spence by TKO in the 8th and 9th round. This doesn't discredit Kell Brook. Kell Brook's a great fighter, and I think he is a better boxer. And if it wasn't for this left eye, I probably would have picked honestly, I would have picked Kell Brook to win. But I think these facts, I have to take in the factors. I have to see what's on paper. Not only is his left eye injured, or left eye has his right eye have that steel plate, but he's also cutting back. He's cutting a lot of weight, and this weight cut may not be great. It probably will take a lot out of him coming down from the Triple G fight. And of course, he just got off of a difficult fight with Triple G. He may have some ring intimidation and coming in there with a big puncher like Errol Spence. So that's why all these factors is why I end up picking Errol Spence to win this fight. I really appreciate you guys stopping by. Make sure to hit that like button, share, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and let me know any other fights you want me to break down, and I'll be back for next week. Have a good weekend, guys. Later.